Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the ARO GRANITE Limited Q2 FY21 earnings conference call hosted by Karnaf Capital Advisors. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone telephone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Gaurav Sood from Karnaf Capital Advisors. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thanks, Karuna. Welcome, everyone, and thanks for joining this Q2 FY21 earnings call for ARO GRANITE Industries. The result and investor update have been mailed to you, and it is also available on the stock exchange. In case anyone does not have a copy of the press release, please do write to us, and we will be happy to send it over to you. I hope all of you are safe and wish a good health for your family and you during this period of COVID pandemic. To take us through the results of this quarter and answer your questions, we have today with us Mr. Sunil Arora, Managing Director, Mr. Sahil Arora, Whole-Time Director, Mr. Madan Gopal, CFO, and Mr. Sabyasachi Panigrahi, Legal Head and Company Secretary. We will be starting the call with a brief overview of the company's performance, and then we will follow with a Q&A session. I would like to remind you all that everything said on this call that reflects any outlook for the future, which can be construed as a forward-looking statement, must be viewed in conjunction with uncertainties and risks that they face. These uncertainties and risks are included but not limited to what we have mentioned in the prospectus filed with SEBI and subsequent annual reports, which you will find on our website. With that said, I now turn over the call to Mr. Sahil Arora. Over to you, Sahil.
Thank you, Gaurav. The management of ARO GRANITE Industries Limited welcomes you to the Q2 2021 investor con call. Thank you for taking out time for attending this call. After an extremely challenging Q1 that was shortened by the lockdown, our performance in Q2 improved and we were able to see an increase in sales from the previous year's Q2. In Q2 2021, sales increased to 46.74 crores.
Mr. Arora, may be requested to speak a little closer to the phone. We are unable to hear you.
Let me try again. After an extremely challenging Q1 that was shortened by the lockdown, our performance in Q2 improved and we were able to see an increase in sales from the previous year's Q2. In Q2 2021, sales increased to rupees 46.74 crores from rupees 43.3 crores in Q2 2020, and we also managed to improve profitability with EBITDA increasing by 52%. Our profit after tax increased by 2,347%. The effect of COVID-19 has had a worldwide economic effect, and we all know this. But we would like to look at what the pandemic has taught us. We have sales in more than 45 countries around the world, and that is thanks to our loyal customers that we have been able to outperform sales from the previous year's Q2. Travel has been restricted and has been an integral part of our business over the past 30 years. With travel restricted not only for us but more importantly for our customers, they have doubled down and put more faith in us. Through honesty and integrity, we have been able to capitalize on these long-lasting relationships, and our performance shows that. Our employees also have shown a lot of discipline and support during these times. We have implemented many safety protocols throughout the organization. All work areas are properly and regularly sanitized, and face covers are mandatory. Social distancing is maintained at workplaces where possible, including the canteens, where we have reduced the number of chairs. For some years now, we have had doctors on call in the factory to run our occupational health center for our employees and our rural health center for the surrounding villages. Any employee showing any symptoms reports to these doctors for evaluation and then are immediately quarantined before being tested. They only resume work post receiving a negative COVID test. After lockdown, we have faced huge raw material shortages in Hosur. With most of the labours of the quarries having returned to their natives, the quarry operations have been very slow. It is only in September that do we see a large ramp up in the quarries in the operations in the quarries in the south. With the shortage of raw material, we focused on reducing our finished goods stock. Since none of our customers could visit us, we set up new video conferencing systems to interact with them. We also increased our domestic or DTA sales to a large extent to clear old inventories. As this is a natural stone industry, we need to buy raw material when it's available. Hence, we usually maintain high levels of inventory. It is this level of inventory that has let us sustain our sales post-lockdown. Our procurement of raw material was down by 60% of pre-lockdown levels. Jaipur has been a big boost for us as the north quarries do not employ a large workforce of migrant laborers. Hence, we did not face a big raw material crunch in the north. This has resulted in Jaipur contributing to 21% of the total sales for the quarter. We also took up all small works in the quartz plant so that once the Chinese technicians are able to travel to India, they only have to check, calibrate and start the machine so that we can start test production at the earliest. We are also exploring new avenues to remotely start up these machines with the help of the Chinese technicians. Even though an unprecedented pandemic and through many challenges, the company has come out with a good performance due to our strong fundamentals. It is with optimism we look at the future, and with the continued support of all stakeholders, we look forward to a bright future. We would like to thank you all for logging onto this phone call. We hope that you and your families are all keeping safe and you remain healthy. We now open the phone call up for questions.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on your touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may please press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Thank you. The first question is from the line of Aman, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Thanks for taking my question, sir. Thanks for taking my question. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible, Aman.
Yeah, so my first question is, can you please try to differentiate between, the Breton stone machines and the machines that we are using for our quartz line? What are the differences and why do people make such a big issue about Breton stone machines? If you could, that is first. Related to this first question is my second question, which is, almost the Chinese have, the duty structure today is kind of killing the industry in China, and a lot of Chinese manufacturers are looking to move their machines to different regions, including India. What advantage do we have? Why do we really want to get into a field which is overcrowded? This is my second question. My third question on similar lines is that, whether it is quartz or natural granite, both of them are used for countertops, majorly, the usages. We also have seen that the Caesar Stone, a US-based company, has acquired, an Indian company which manufactures porcelain-based countertops. So if you could touch on that point, that would also be very, very helpful. And that's pretty much it from my side. If you could expand on these, that would be helpful in understanding the industry. The fourth question is on granites themselves. So we have seen that, most of the US market is now being taken away by Brazil, majorly because of depreciation in their currency. How do you see this impacting us and other players in the field who are dependent on US markets for exports? That's it from my side, sir. Thank you.
So let me answer some of the questions that you raised. The major difference between Breton stone technology and the Chinese technology is the price. The Breton stone technology costs roughly about 4 times the cost of a Chinese line with comparable capacity. However, the betting stone technology is a little bit more efficient, but that does not justify the 4 times increase in the price, and that's why we decided to go for the Chinese.
I just want to add on this actually is that Breton was the first company to come up with this technology almost 25 years ago. After that, the Chinese have been developing this machinery, and lately I would say in the last 5 years they've improved a lot actually. So yes, if you ask me 5 years before, we wouldn't have decided for the Chinese machinery, but now their quality, their systems are as good as, I would say, if not 100% like Breton, but equally good with the kind of capacity they make it. Hence, that's the reason we had gone for Chinese machines. But the finishing, we are still going with the Italian machinery, which we already have existing in our factory.
The second part you asked about is why we are is predominantly because, as you mentioned, our U.S. sales has been declining because of the increase in quartz or the Brazilian granite. So to capture that market back, the first step we did is we set up a location in Jaipur. The Jaipur colors are very prominent in the U.S. market, and they're very well liked. So that segment is doing very well for us. The second part is that we want to capture some of the quartz market. And as you rightly pointed out, granite and quartz and porcelain, they're all used predominantly for countertops. So the channel of sales is the same. So we're utilizing already our existing old relationships with our customers to tap into that and capture more of their purchases, or to do more sales with our existing customers. But that is the other reason why we wanted to get into quartz. And it's not only the US market that likes quartz, but it's also the UK market, Australia. These are the other 2 major markets. So that's why we're looking into entering this area. And we feel that's where one of our strong points will help us sustain in this business is because of our integrity and the trust that they have in us. Since it's being a manufactured product, the quality parameters are very easily set, unlike granite or natural stone, which is a natural product. So once those quality parameters are set, it becomes very easy for us to continue working in that aspect. And then lastly, you mentioned about Caesarstone purchasing this porcelain countertop market, countertop company. So porcelain is relatively a new countertop material, but as far as we see, it's still not as successful, mainly because the machinery that is required to cut granite, marble, and quartz into the final countertops is the same. To make in fact, there is no difference. You can use the same blades, you can use the same diamonds, you can use everything the same. But for porcelain, you have to employ new techniques and use more sophisticated machinery. So it's still yet to develop worldwide, and we also see that it's not widely accepted even now.
And one more, the project cost for ceramic porcelain slabs is almost like maybe 10 times more than the quartz, what we have done now. Yeah. The biggest advantage we have right now is that the quartz plant has been set up in our existing unit. So we did not buy a new land. We have no extra infrastructure to be built. We have the same overheads what we already have with us. And like as you know, like just now I'll explain that the granite business has been slightly, and especially in USA, has been taken over by quartz. Like 5 years ago, natural stone used to be 80% and quartz used to be 20%. Today it's the other way around. 80% is quartz, 20% natural stone. I'm just saying about USA market. So to tap that market, we have put up a small unit within the existing facility with the minimum overhead and finishing in the existing plant. So since the granite business had gone down from last 5 years, not only because of the market demand, also for the shortage of the raw material in our area. So this was the best solution what we have done to keep the existing unit at par with the expenses we have.
Also, we would like to point out that the US is a large market for us, but it's no longer the largest market, with Europe dominating most of our sales.
Yeah.
Just one or two follow-up questions. So if I were to look at, somebody like a Pokarna who's been a market leader in this segment and coming up with newer capacities, how do I as an end customer, what would differentiate between, other than, of course, the brand that sells them, what is the key differentiation? Is it the designs? Because as you said, Breton stone and Chinese technologies are pretty much at par today. So what is the key differentiator for an end customer? That is my first question. My second question is, what kind of future do you see for quartz in India? I would assume that, quartz, given the lowest, if I were to compare granite versus quartz in India, it is like even the lowest grade quartz would be like 3x, 4x more expensive than granite. So where do you see, this shift happening where, people actually start moving from from granite to quartz? If you could just touch on, India opportunity and the other question.
It was actually part of your question. The main difference between a Breton stone company and a Chinese machinery company is the brand. Brand does have value. Brand does have expenses. So, of course, some people do value brand. Some people are not concerned about brand. One of the other reasons why we decided to put up a Chinese plant is because most of our customers are now requiring OEM products. So they have their own brands. So a company, say, located in New York will set up their own quartz brand personally for them. Because we've seen that in the past, a lot of the companies that are creating brands use the existing distributors in a certain location to gain market share and then set up their own warehouses over there. So now the wholesalers are starting to feel that it's time that they set up their own brand, have their own presence, keep their own customers to themselves.
As regard your domestic market question, we are a 100% export-oriented unit. As of now, also we export 95%. Only 5% reject we sell in the domestic market. The same thing we will do for the quartz. So quartz will be our major thrust will be towards export only, and some rejects we'll be able to sell in the domestic market.
Okay. Understood. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Reminder to all the participants, to ask a question, you may please press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Siddharth Agarwal from Prudence Value Partners. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, and congratulations for a good set of numbers given the circumstances. So now, sir, starting from our raw material side, you mentioned that the raw material availability has been a concern for the industry, and because of the lockdown, it went worse. So what is the situation as of now in both South Hosur as well as Jaipur, the raw material availability?
So as far as Jaipur is concerned, like I'll explain, we are able to arrange the raw material because there the labor has been available and the quarries are functioning as normal like pre-COVID, and we are able to arrange the blocks to our full capacity for the Jaipur plant. For Hosur plant, for the South plant, we were as it is having the shortage of raw material even pre-COVID. So now it has become even worse. The reason has been, which we have been explaining many times earlier, that the more than 1,000 quarries had closed down in Madurai sector about 4 or 5 years back, and that's the reason we have a shortage. So we are depending on a few quarries. In those few quarries, yes, the shortage of labor is there. There are more units, more demand. Yes, we still do have shortage of raw material, but we are still able to manage, and we are able to work as per our requirements.
Just to add on to that, October month was similar levels to pre-COVID. So it has taken them 4 to 5 months to ramp up the production, not only because of the shortage of labor, but also because it's a rainy season, and that also affected their quarry operations. So overall, now we are seeing that the rains have slowed down. Labor is available, so we will see that quarry production will reach pre-COVID levels now.
Now, also to add on, so to compensate for our shortage of raw materials, we import almost like 30% of our requirement from Brazil, Africa, other countries at least.
Okay. And sir, because of the shortage of the raw material, how is the pricing for the raw material changed? Is it same, or has it also gone up because of the shortage?
Initially, we did see a slight increase in the raw material costing, but overall, it has again stabilized back to pre-COVID levels. Yeah.
Okay. So it's almost like pre-COVID levels now. It's not materially different from what it was.
Yeah, prices are same like pre-COVID levels. So there is not any substantial increase in the raw material costing.
Okay. And so we also mentioned in our presentation that, because of our available inventory, we were able to, liquidate a lot of our inventory to meet our sales. So that's why our sales did not get disrupted to the same extent as the production was. So, but sir, looking at the balance sheet, the inventory levels have only reduced from 129 crore to 126 crore. So there is no material decrease in inventory levels.
Yeah,
The block has gone up.
sure. See, actually, the reason why it is not reflecting in the balance sheet is because of a rough block stock, because we have procured raw material due to shortage of raw material, as well as we have now Jaipur. Okay, Jaipur, we have some inventory there. So that is the reason for the not much reduction in the.
Still there is.
Yeah.
Still.
Okay. And sir, both our products, granite, are all our premium products. So, but for what we sell in the domestic market, so do we give some discounts, or is it the very high end of domestic market that we cater to? How does that work?
So we cater to two different markets in the domestic market. It's either the extremely high-end markets where they're looking at prices of 10,000 rupees per square meter plus, or the really low end of the market, which is basically our export rejects that we sell in the local market, where it goes from a per slab basis to starting at about 1,800 rupees a square meter. So that's the kind of range that we have. We have two distinctive markets where it's either export rejects or it's ultra exotic high-end material.
Okay. And sir, also given the situation that we have on the raw material side, and given that in the Hosur our production facilities are much bigger than Jaipur, so is there any plan to either expand the Jaipur capacity further, or move some of the machinery, if possible, from Hosur to Jaipur to optimize the utilization a little bit more?
Jaipur, we just started last year in August. It's not even 1 year now. Definitely, we'll look in future, looking at the market conditions. So at this point of time, yes, we have not applied mind on it. Yes, future we'll look at it.
Okay. And so finally, on the quartz plant, the starting is pending due to the travel ban of the Chinese technicians. But assumingly, that happens in the next few months or the soonest. So can we expect that once the plant starts, given our credibility and our relationship with our clients, we should be able to ramp up pretty soon and to achieve a good utilization? Because we keep on hearing that there's a home improvement demand in the US and the market is very strong these days. So is it a reasonable expectation that as soon as the plant starts, we should be able to ramp up the utilization very soon, and it should not take very long to utilize the plant optimally?
So compared to our granite business, the quartz volume is not very substantial. So and the customers that we've been working with in the US are pretty large customers, and they require a lot of volume. So to be very honest with you, I think with 4 or 5 of our existing customers in the US, we will be at full capacity.
Okay.
And,
So
basically we are just waiting for Chinese technicians to come and start the machinery. Like they were supposed to come in the February this year. It's now, in fact, we got a mail today also from them. So they are working on it, and we are hopeful that by end of this year they should be here, and from January onward we can start a trial production.
Okay. And so my last question is, our DTA sales are usually around 5% of revenue. So during the first half this year, what was the contribution from that?
Almost nil. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, for the first half.
Same.
About 5% only. Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. It's about 5 to 6%.
Around 5%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Margin
Great, sir. Thanks.
of previous year.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir, for patiently answering the questions, and wish you all the very best for the coming quarters. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Participants, to ask a question, you may please press star and one on your touchtone telephone. The next question is from the line of Saksham Bharadwaj, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi there, sir.
Yes, Saksham.
Yeah, so please can you tell me how is your cut to size segment performing right now?
So cut to size segment is performing well. It is currently about 10% of our business. And we're still learning. We've been stressing on this over the last few years, is that this is a segment where it can make or break you. It's very easy to get the job, very difficult to execute. So we still are focusing very much on this segment with a lot of value addition, high profitability. We see that in the future it will continue to go.
Okay. And regarding the granite price, did the prices of granite increase due to the ban on Chinese products or due to lockdown?
No, granite was not banned by US or the Chinese product. It was only the quartz.
Yeah.
The quartz slabs have been not banned by US government for China. The duty is very high. The duty is almost like 300%.
Okay. And did it have any? Yeah. And did it have any impact?
We have since our quartz production has not started yet, we haven't sold any slabs.
Okay. And last question, sir. What are our realization as compared to the last year?
Yeah. The realization is slightly better as compared to last year because of we do value-added products in Jaipur also. That's right. Marginally high.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Reminder to all the participants, to ask a question, you may please press star and one on your touchtone telephone. The next question is from the line of Urvija Shah from Isha Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. I had one question. So going to your presentation, we have majority of our granite sales in China, to China. So with the ongoing trade sentiments between the two countries, are we seeing any impact in that, or are we? Is there any say duties or something that we are that can be imposed?
Trade barriers.
So again, the trade barriers against China is applied from the US on quartz. It's not on natural stone. So we haven't seen any benefits of that at all.
Okay, and between exporting to China, so any trade barriers we are seeing for Indian products in China?
We have zero sales, to be honest, in China, so it really won't make an effect to us.
Okay, thank you.
China is not a market. We have other 45 countries except China.
Yeah.
But China, they are like our competitors.
Yeah.
So they also buy blocks from all over the world and process and re-export actually.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Saksham Bharadwaj, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah.
Brother, yes.
Can
Yes. Please go ahead, sir.
So can you tell me how is competition from the Brazil this fiscal year?
See, we are not able to hear. Can you please repeat the question a little louder, please?
Yeah, I'm saying, sir, how is competition from Brazil this year?
The best part about natural stone is that each country has its own individual unique raw material. So our competition against Brazil is not because of any price advantage or of any material advantage. It's because certain people might prefer a Brazilian design where certain people might prefer an Indian design. The best example is the US. The US definitely does prefer Brazilian colors, but if you see our main market, which is Europe, Europe is highly dominated by the Indian colors. So definitely there is a lot of competition with Brazil when it comes to American sales. And since their currency was devalued over the last few years, they've had price advantage also over the Indian colors. Firstly, having preferential colors, then having a price advantage. So that's been very good for them. But at the same time, they are also facing huge competition against engineered stone. On the other hand, we buy a lot of Brazilian stones, and the inland transportation in Brazil, just like any other country, is very high. And for certain stones, especially for certain exotic stones, the cost of shipping it across the world by ship is equivalent to shipping it by truck within the same country. So there we find that our processing is as good, if not better, than the Brazilian manufacturers, and that's where certain times we do see that they prefer to buy from us. And not only that, the exotic stones that we buy are usually the high-end stones. So there are not many customers around the world who are looking to buy full containers of high-end exotic stones and having a container value of at a very high level. So what we do is, and our advantage is that we mix and match exotic Brazilian stones with basic Indian stones and make a very averagely priced container, which a lot of customers prefer to buy from us.
Okay, sir. And can you tell me what raw material that you import from Brazil?
Which raw material?
Granite. We import granite like you want to name like Taj Mahal.
So we import exotic granite and special quartzite. These are the most imported colors that we buy from there. They're usually the imported granites are usually priced about 25% higher than our high-end Indian granites, and the quartzites, which are very special and very specific to Brazil, those are usually in the range of 200 to 200 Indian high-end granite.
Okay, sir. And can you tell me how you feel regarding the shift from granite to engineered stone permanent, and how are you changing your strategy?
I'm sorry, I didn't get you.
I'm saying, do you feel that the shift from granite to engineered stone is permanent or not, or how are you changing your strategy regarding that?
So we are adding on another segment to our products. We will continue working with natural stone, and natural stone will still continue to be the largest sector of our total business. The engineered stone will be an additional business that we are doing. So we have on our existing campus in Hosur, we had enough land to build up a new facility of 8,000 square meter, a new building where we installed the new quartz line. So it's a complementary product to our existing product, which will go through our existing channels. So that's why we decided to get into this. In the future, our focus will continue to be on both products, and in fact, all three products which we see as the North Factory, the South Factory of natural stone, and quartz. And I think we will have good growth opportunity in these three segments. And like I mentioned earlier, that we do mixed containers of Brazilian and granite. We also feel that there might be an opportunity to do a mixed container of Brazilian granite and quartz, which might help us capture smaller markets which are completely untapped and also require good materials.
Okay, sir. And demand for Indian colors improved in US and in Europe per se?
In US, the demand for North Indian colors from our Rajasthan plant is very, very good and very competitive. It's a majority of our sales of the North plant. Whereas the South plant, the issue what we face is that the colors that they are demanding are very specific and very limited. So there's a huge competition in purchasing of raw materials more than in the selling of slabs. So there is demand still in the US, but as we come third in, after quartz, Brazilian stones, and then Indian stones, they're very specific and very choosy on the kind of stones that they buy. So that's why in 2008, before the subprime crisis, we spread out to many countries, and now we have very good customers all over the world, especially in Europe, Australia, Asia, Africa, and we continue to supply those customers with stones that are not really in demand in the US.
Okay, sir. And can you please tell me what impact do you see on your sales with the recent lockdowns in Europe that they are doing?
As far as our information that we've gotten till now, and of course things might change as the weeks go by, the lockdown is there, but it is a little bit more limited as compared to the previous lockdowns. Operations of construction and basically we are construction material suppliers, right? So those industries are still allowed to run with a limited amount of manpower. So currently we don't see any any slowdown over there, especially because the European Union has very actively had a lot of government or public spending. So there's a lot of money that is going around in those countries, and people are still looking at increasing construction activities over there. So.
All right, sir. And please, can you tell me, have any granite processing units closed during the lockdown, and has the competitive intensity decreased in India over here?
So there haven't been any shutdowns of any export-oriented units as far as we know. Domestic units, maybe we don't look at that data too much. But as far as export-oriented units, especially from the south or from the north, there has been no shutdowns yet. But definitely, people are running at below COVID capacity.
And thank you, sir. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Urvija Shah from Isha Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Sir, I don't know if you might have already answered it. So what is the delay in expansion due to COVID? So now when will the ports, so the facility be online? And
sorry, your voice is not clear.
Your voice is very feeble, madam.
Hello.
Yeah, slightly
Hello?
better now. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is the expansion delay due to COVID?
Okay, so the expansion process that we are doing right now is in the Hosur unit, which is in the south, where we're setting up a new quartz unit with a capacity of 1,800 square meter per annum, for which we've created a 8,000 square meter facility. And the machine erection has been completed up to 95% as of January 2020. That's when the Chinese technicians returned home for the Chinese New Year, and that was the beginning of the pandemic. So they were supposed to return to India around 15th of February, which of course did not happen. And till now, they have not been able to return. Post the Indian lockdown, we have been working slowly on completing small projects in the quartz unit, with the expectation that international flights should start soon. And of course, we were expecting them to have started by October, but there have been numerous delays. And now what we're looking at is we're looking at completing all the pending works in those units, leaving the calibration and the startup of the unit, which we are quite hopeful the Chinese technicians will be able to come soon. Simultaneously, we are also working at figuring out a way of remotely starting up the unit with a reduced capacity.
Okay. Right. And say if we are able to start it for the next financial year, what are the revenues roughly? Because I understand that the quartz unit takes some time, for the gestation period is always there. So what sort of revenues can we expect in year one?
Yeah, for the next. Yeah. So yeah, if you're able to start a quartz unit by January, then definitely we are looking at much better revenue for the next financial year. But of course, like I said, it all depends upon when we are really actually able to start the unit. So we'll come up with numbers as soon as we start with our quartz plant. We'll definitely make an announcement for our next financial numbers.
Okay. No, my question largely was just an estimate. I'm not asking for what the revenue will be, but say whenever we start it, roughly say at 20-30% utilization. So what revenues can we do?
We're looking at 30 containers a month.
30 containers.
Just 1 second, yeah. We're looking at the numbers. What we are looking at 30 containers per month.
That is at the peak capacity? No.
Yes, these are the peak capacity. At the peak capacity, we're looking at $500,000 of sales per month.
Into rupees?
Into which is about 3 crores. Yeah, so about 35 to 40 crores
in a year.
Yeah. This is at peak capacity. So of course, if we look at 20% of that, will be 20% of that. Yeah.
Okay.
That will be additional once you start this quartz plant.
Okay.
Ram, are you done with your questions?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank
you so much for your questions.
As there are no further questions from the participants, I now hand the conference over to Mr. Gaurav Sood from Karnak Capital Advisors for closing comments. Over to you, sir. Mr. Gaurav Sood, over to you for closing comments.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Thank you.
Yeah. So thanks everyone for logging into the call today. The management has tried to answer whatever questions were asked, but if there are still any queries that you might have, you can email to us and we'll respond immediately onto those. As we have announced, we plan to do this conference call every 6 months rather than quarterly. And in case of any further queries, you can reach out to us. Thanks everyone.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Karnak Capital Advisors, that concludes this conference call. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.